Welcome to Tea Time News live stream. We've not done this before, but we figured why not? Makes the news more current, and everyone else,
Does.
spends ages editing their videos. We don't. So we figured we'd just get the news out as it happens, as it were. So, my name is Ross, by the way.
Oh, I'm Craig.
And if you haven't already, put the kettle on. I missed that because I was too busy setting this up, so I haven't got a cup of tea, which is terrible. But if you have one, then don't have a sip for me. Starting with, I
Yeah.
think we'll go over. Everyone's been talking about it, to be fair, but I heard a different take on it yesterday, and I thought I would jump on that bandwagon because I think it's right. The Tesla crash, the big Tesla crash that everyone's been talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Car crashes into tree, sets on fire. Tragic, horrible thing. Obviously, 2 people died. Because it was Tesla, everyone went, well, must have been self-driving. Clearly, it drove itself into a tree. But the problem with that idea was that Elon quite quickly responded, because there was an awful lot of people saying, oh yeah, it was self-driving, without any actual evidence. So Tesla, Elon piped up and said, well, actually, it doesn't have self-driving on that car, and even if it did, it wouldn't work on those roads because they don't have lanes. Other people have said that you can, in some cases, it will pick up the edge of the road as a lane, and sometimes that's good enough to make it work. But again, it doesn't have full self-driving, so that shouldn't be possible. Also, in order to, one presumes if a car catches fire as it hits a tree, then you must have hit it pretty hard, and obviously the autopilot wouldn't allow you to drive faster than the road would permit you to do. So there's a few issues with the theory that Tesla self-drove itself into a tree. So there's been lots of ideas around. So to give you some extra context, I didn't know, people kind of imagine there's some joyriding people, but the passenger is apparently in the 70s.
I didn't know that.
And the owner of the car was in the back seat. And other people had said they reportedly saw him get into the back seat before they went. So, did they? He's in his 50s, right? So why would someone of that age group, and maybe his dad, I don't know who the older gentleman is, why would they purposefully put like a brick on the seat, on the steering? Not that it's got that sort of thing, but why would they trick or do the equivalent of putting the brick on the accelerator? Why would they try and make the car drive itself? Why would you do that? It's right next to the house as well. So they literally got out of the house and they drove around one corner and they crashed straight into a tree. So, I was watching Tesla Time News from Now You Know, and Zach had a theory which I think sounds more plausible than the idea that the car drove into a tree, and that is quite simply that there was a third driver, there was a person in the driver's seat. But let's say, for example, that was a younger person, someone who's recently passed his test or something, and now you picture you've got the dad in the back, perhaps not dad or uncle or whatever, in the back saying, "Yeah, give it some, son." Because obviously it's got launch and stuff, so maybe there was someone else in the car. Maybe it wasn't necessarily a young person, but maybe someone else in the car has a go. It loses control of the car, crashes into a tree. People are injured, not necessarily, or the car may not be on fire at this point, but he gets out of the car, sees everyone's knocked out or whatever, and tries to run for help. Tries to run back to the house to get help. Meanwhile, car sets on fire. Then by the time they arrive, let's say if it was a young person, you can imagine someone else stepping in and go, just go somewhere else, I'll deal with this. Basically, yes, a driver for whatever reason gets out of the car and doesn't make himself known to the police. Maybe that person doesn't have a license. Maybe, whatever. Could be any number of reasons. But that would make the other two people in their position make more sense. Obviously, all speculation. We don't know, but it's just another theory against what seems to be already disproven theory that everyone's more excited about, which is the idea that a car would just drive itself into a tree.
Yeah.
So, credit to Zach on that one. It's not my idea, but
it's very speculative. Yeah.
Speculative, but it makes more sense.
Implicates a third party, and it kind of implicates that third party to have done quite a serious crime as well. Obviously, to potentially killed family members or friends.
Well, I don't
fled
think
the scene of an accident.
I would imagine if it was another family or friend, I would imagine it's an accident. I imagine it's, because apparently if you have ludicrous mode or you try and launch a Tesla, it is pretty aggressive. So I imagine, given that they were so close to the house, I would imagine going to get help would be a sensible thing to do. And then there's some other reason why that person was not made known to the police. But we'll find out, won't we? But in the meantime, don't believe everything you read, or even believe what I'm saying. Right. In last week, Ocado announced that they were teaming up with Oxbotica to go autonomous for their warehouse forklifts, which we would expect, but more importantly, their delivery vans. So Ocado, for those that don't know, are the Tesco equivalent, who are online based only, and they deliver their shopping, but they may well be teaming up to have autonomous delivery vans, which goes particularly well with the next story, which isn't next on my list, but I'm going to make it, and that is that it was in Sky News today or yesterday that the UK could well be allowing self-driving, they've described as self-driving cars on UK motorways by the end of this year. Now they're talking about lane assist technologies, things like that. So we're not talking Teslas, but it's an important step because obviously you've got to start somewhere. So we're only talking about cars that have automatic braking systems and lanes keeping thingies, but it will be a major step. Not everyone's keen. There's a couple of quotes from breakdown service people. I'm not quite sure why they're the go-to, but so Steve Gooding, who was a director of the RAC Foundation, says there is a risk of situations in which drivers over-rely on the automated system, expecting it to deal with events for which it is neither intended nor capable. Which is true, because obviously we've seen that situation with Teslas where people decide to fall asleep at the wheel, things like that. But there are always going to be idiots. I don't know whether that is a reason to not go ahead, because those same idiots will be the same idiots that would crash a car anyway. And then, the valid point I did make, which I thought might be worth listening to, was the question of how long it takes for a driver to regain control if they need to. Because they were suggesting that their research suggests that it takes several seconds for a driver to do that. Obviously, if it's fully autonomous, then you shouldn't need it. But if we're allowing the other cars that don't have the intelligent levels of the system, i.e. the people, I don't know actually the companies that, but most car companies now have their version of a basic autonomous driving. If they're not very good, and we're now relying on those cars, their drivers to regain the wheel, then how good is that, and how long is that going to take? Is that going to cause more problems where the system bails because it doesn't know what to do and creates accidents that way? So that's a fair point. And AA President Edmund King said he doesn't think we should be in a race to take the driver's hands off the wheels. He thinks there's still gaps in how technology detects and stops if the vehicle is involved in a collision. Blah blah blah. We need to do more tests, basically. So, just a bit naysayers, really. Not keen.
Kind of what we're doing, is it not? We are testing this. That's
Well,
kind of the
exactly.
point.
How are you going to get to that point unless you do some sort of level of testing?
I mean, yeah.
So
I mean, sorry, AA and RAC, business might be going down when you have electric
That is a good
vehicles
point.
self-driving themselves.
That is a good
So
point.
I can see why they're not too keen.
Oh, I wasn't even being corrupt. I wasn't even thinking about that. Oh, well, that's disappointing, slightly. Yeah, there is a lot for them to not have autonomous driving because the business would collapse.
I mean, there'll still be need, obviously. I mean, electric cars can still break down, but less likely. There's a lot less moving parts, and if it's autonomously driving,
A lot.
it knows it has an issue, and it'll pull it to a service station or something. Who knows? Obviously, these are tests. We'll find out.
Yeah. Okay. In wind news, because we are the king of wind in the UK. Only because I've been looking at making my own homemade devices. But I've been hearing a lot about what do they call them? Vorts. Basically, vertical versions of a wind turbine. So instead of horizontal ones, they are vertical ones. I don't know if you're familiar with how they tend to look. I can share the screen so you can see what I've got here if you like.
Yes, please do.
Let's do that. What have we got here? So that'll be that one there, I think. Right. Let me just check. See, I'm glad I just checked that, because what I've done there is I have now destroyed. Everyone's now watching the Tea Time logo and not seeing us, because that apparently can't be done. So let's not share our screen, and put that back as it was. Something to bear in note: we can't share the screen without losing the feed. Moving on.
I'm watching the feed, and unfortunately, you didn't share what you thought you shared. You shared the logo, so it looks like you got whatever you used to edit open.
No, that's what I'm saying. So behind us,
right.
When I set this up, behind us is a logo, so that if we lose the feed, they can still look at the beautiful logo. What happened there is we lost the feed. So sorry for those who were watching and suddenly had a logo to look at. But anyway, what I was trying to show you was the vertical wind turbine. Actually, this is testing. I got one other idea. I'm gonna try one more thing. So I need to. How do they do it on the?
This is a shout out that if people are actually watching this, I noticed 1 or 2 people have popped up that says watching. I can't tell if that's me watching myself or if it's actually people. If there are people, please add something in the chat.
Yes, that would be fun. It'd be nice to see people and talk to them directly. That would be lots of fun. Right, so I'm going to. No, meeting controls is not what I want. Oh, well, let's do that. Right, so now we've got the whole website up. Great, so can you see that?
I can see like the full interface of everything.
Can you see wind turbines is what I'm asking you.
Hang on. Yeah.
Right, good. That's a vertical wind turbine. It's as you expect, but it's the other way around.
Oh, yes.
So, as the article says, apparently the vertical ones, when put in a certain formation or in a grid, which they often do for the offshore wind farms, they are apparently more efficient. They also seem to be better at low level wind. So, and I haven't seen any research on this, but I also wonder what the situation is with birds. Because part of me thinks that maybe they would do better with that.
Yeah, it looks like a death trap.
Well, okay, fair point. What I'm thinking is, and this is a bit loose, so research definitely needs to be done. But when a bird is attacking another bird, it attacks a bird from above or below, usually above. So I wonder whether, because these ones are going that way, the visibility of it is much better than something that comes down from above and whacks them on the head as they go down. I wonder whether they would find that easier. So, but don't know. Anyway, but
yeah, fair point.
I think vertical turbines might be. I have a feeling they're going to be better than the other ones. That's why. And this article seems to be backing that theory up with some actual research, not just me going, I don't know, I think it will be. So there you go. That was what I want to show you. I can see if there's anything. Certain measurement can increase performance by up to 15%, which is, important. I mean, we're not talking 15% is coming. If we improved solar by 15%, we'd be laughing. Anyway, I'll stop sharing that, and then I will try and get our thing back where it should be. And we just one second.
Something I noticed is when you do share your screen, we can no longer see us.
Yes.
We're not little people on the side.
Yes. I don't know how to do that. If you do, put in the comments below. Right. Good. Fantastic. Do we still have a feed running? That's what I want to know. Don't know, because I'm not watching it.
I think so.
All good? In that case, back to the news. Right. What else we got? So that's good news. Now we've got some bad news. According to the Guardian's website news article, it would appear that the speed at which the world's glaciers are melting has doubled in the last 20 years, which sounds terrible. So apparently the what did it say? The glaciers basically melting has contributed more to sea level rise than either Greenland or the Antarctic ice sheets.
Wow.
Which is what people are usually worried about. So yeah, those glaciers seem to be causing a bit of a problem. So between 2000 and 2019, the glaciers lost 267 gigatons of ice, equivalent to 21% of sea level rise. And this is the worst one. The authors say that the mass loss was equivalent to submerging the surface of England under 2 meters of water every year.
Wow.
Wow. So that's 47% higher than the contribution of the melting ice sheet in Greenland, and more than twice that from the ice sheet in Antarctica. So yeah, that's a problem. Big one. So.
Yeah.
And then another, due to the fact that the planet is currently being submerged very slowly, but not slow enough, over to Mars, where the Mars helicopter has been off again. Ingenuity, is that what it's called? I think it's called it. So in its first sort of go, it basically, we had a little helicopter which flew up in the air, checked it could fly, and went back down again, and that was that. Well, we've moved on. Now we've gone up and we've gone laterally 5 meters. and then back, I think, and then back down again. But in doing so, they're having a little game with each other. I think these little robots. The Ingenuity has now taken a photo of Perseverance, because before Perseverance had taken a photo of Ingenuity, but now she's returned the favour. She don't know. So yeah, they're having fun. But this is, I think there's only 2 flights left, and then after that, well, so they're basically pushing this technology to see how far they'll go before they're quite happy to break it at this point. I think they've accomplished what they wanted to. Now they're just kind of having fun. But basically, because the density of the air on Mars is incredibly low, 1% that of ours, it means there's less substance, whatever, to cling onto when you're using the rotor to get it up in the air. So that means that the blades have to spin a lot faster than they would do on Earth. But they do have lower gravity, so that kind of helps the other way. But basically, they've got incredibly fast blades, and it's super light, and that's what's making it work. But after these next 2 tests, sadly, they're going to abandon it. They're just going to leave it. I don't know why. I mean, I would play with it, but I guess because you have to. Well, I don't know really why. Presumably it must be solar powered.
Does it not have some sort of like autonomous, like, I don't know, search mode, like a Roomba? Just set it off and it's like, just have it map the planet.
I mean, you think so, wouldn't you?
It's like if it crashes, didn't want you anyway. But just, go be useful while you're there.
Yeah. But I don't know. But that's what apparently they're going to abandon it after the next couple of flights. I don't know if it's solar powered. I should check that question. I thought it was. In which case, just leave it there and then, maybe it just means that Perseverance will move on and leave it there, but we can still talk to it. Maybe that's what they meant. They weren't overly clear. And I think that wraps me up.
Cool. Okay. I have a few pieces. I'm going to share my screen. Let's start with France. Can you see that?
I can. Yes. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Let me just check the feed looks good. Okay, so you can share your screen.
As in, you can see us as
me
people.
That can't.
So that's what I meant earlier. I thought that was going to be the case.
Yeah, it's because my window changes when
cool.
I share, but yours doesn't. So from now on, you're Mr. Sharer.
Okay, yeah, we can take it turns. We'll send me some links. Right. So France seems to be getting quite deep into this whole, let's get rid of our carbon problems and reach our 2030 and then 2050 milestones. So it's looking to give its citizens $3,000 to get rid of their car and get an e-bike. It's pretty cool. I don't know why Elon's crying. I'm surprised he hasn't made an e-bike himself. But yeah, this is the first European nation, and they are the first in the world, I believe. First nation in the world to be doing this. So yeah, the French Federation of Bicycle Users claims if France goes ahead, they would be the first in the world, and in general, they're very happy. This is quite a good thing. 3,200 applicants so far. Didn't mean to open the tweet. And yeah, 2,000 e-bikes. I'm not really sure in the rules involved in the cars they want, but yeah, I suppose if your car is worth less than $3,000, then that's a pretty good deal. Either way, well done, France. That's quite a cool thing. Nice to see the UK do similar. Sticking with France have also banned domestic flights that could be covered by train. Again, this is something the UK should really do since we are smaller than France. So again, this is to help lower its emissions. And I think it's a 3-hour Yeah, so looking at tips over 42.5 hours. So if the flight can be covered in train and under 2.5 hours, then that flight will no longer be active. They're literally cutting all those domestic flights. So for the UK, that'll be from Cardiff to City Airport in London. That type of stuff.
Cool. So that's the point where we need a hyperloop, and then you could go. All the ones that were currently 4 hours could then be covered in 2.5 hours, and then you can't fly there either.
Yeah. I mean, think of the UK right now. I think you can. Can you fly from Bournemouth to London?
I believe you can.
I think you can. Yeah, so that's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours on a train.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the UK, we have a lot of silly things perhaps that this could be quite useful doing. And we would definitely need to improve our train system. I'm not really sure on the French train system. Is it better than ours? Roughly the same? I don't know.
I mean, it's
But
probably worse than
yeah,
ours.
good job, France.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I should mention, by the way, they can't see us whilst we're sharing the screen.
As little people.
Hmm?
They can't see us as little people.
Correct.
Ah, that sucks.
Sad times, isn't it? Try fixing it.
Yeah, maybe we need to abandon Zoom.
Stupid Zoom.
Yeah, we'll experiment longer than 5 minutes next time.
Good idea.
So, yeah, talking about France, the UK has now replaced France as Europe's second largest electric car market. Sorry, not maker. That's a near future goal.
Assuming
But
Norway's
as a
still number one.
market, that's pretty cool. What's that, sorry?
So I assume Norway is still number one.
I think it's Germany.
Really? Can't be. Surely.
Germany.
Wow. Okay.
Germany, UK, France.
Wow.
Okay.
They must have a higher percentage than of Norway.
Yeah, there's Norway. Yeah, so Norway in 2020 was the first country in the world with more electric cars were sold than fossil fuel cars. However, they are not top three.
Well, a smaller country, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, they did say market.
So yeah, battery electrics. Yeah, they are a small country. Germany and France are obviously a lot bigger than us and Norway. So the first 3 months of the year, 75% of UK sales were electric vehicles, mostly Model 3s, I believe, which resulted in quite a good growth for Tesla.
Cool.
Cool. And now on to the cute news segment of the show. I introduce to you Kangaroo. It's the first EV made specifically for wheelchair users. Literally wheel in there onto the steering wheel, off you go.
That's actually kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
That is kind of cool.
It is very cool.
That's a good point. You know, they're already sat down. Why get them to transfer? It must have been the most annoying thing to have to do, and probably, you know, ever so slightly, what's the word, embarrassing, demeaning, whatever it is, having to do that. So yeah, why not? That's great.
It is, isn't it?
I mean, it's a shame it's a rubbish-looking car. It's a shame they can't do the same thing with a cool-looking car, but.
That's a very cute car.
So it's just a bit late, really. I mean, they could have done with this like 10 years ago. Not even electric, just having that, because soon they're going to be autonomous, and then we'll go back to not mattering. You can just wheel into any car.
Not sure if that's something to really boast about. Fully charged electric battery in just 8 hours. Okay.
Well, I
think all EVs can do that.
Yeah, same as I got.
Yeah, that's the Leaf standard, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, can you drive on pavements as well?
Is it technically?
Oh, right. I assume this. So this is basically a scooter then, with it's like a portmobile.
Yeah, or an accessibility vehicle which they can drive on pavements. I don't think they call them portmobiles.
Oh, you get what you get what I mean. Anyway, the next cute segment is this little Domino's self-delivering pizza
Oh,
robot
I
thing.
wouldn't take the pizza. I'd just hug it. Look at it. It's beautiful.
Little Nuro. So self-driving,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I think we're gonna have some autonomous delivery vehicle.
I just
Like we know that's not going to be too correct because we know how difficult that is, and these
yeah.
people haven't
Like
sorted it
just
out.
because you made it smaller doesn't solve the problem. Like, okay, so now I'm going to get run over by this small little thing I can't see. Great. Um, how does that help? Like, you still have to make the thing drive, so there isn't much advantage of making it smaller, is there? What was the point of that?
I don't
Now it's
think
just
so.
hard to
No,
see on the road. I just don't get it.
I assume it's got some basic technology to help it move around, but ultimately, yeah, it can't be too smart. I imagine kind of like a big Roomba, just bumping into things and just reversing it,
Because that
continuing.
lidar on top.
It looks to be. Do you like a pin entry thing? Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, like, if it's like a if you you're a student and this is the campus Domino's, then fine, okay, sure. But like, is that thing gonna drive down the dual carriageway to get to give us the pizza? How's that gonna work?
No, that's not allowed to do carriageways.
Well, exactly. What's the point of it? Do you know what I mean?
There's a very small person in there on a bike.
I mean,
But
we pretty much have dual
cool.
carriageway
Either way,
running
it
straight through
is.
the middle of the town. So Domino's is next to the dual carriageway. This thing is useless here. They could just drive around the one way system of town, and
Yeah.
that's about
I
it.
mean, if it's one thing Domino's are good at, it's getting attention via tech news because they did this whole delivery by drone thing a couple of years back, and that got a lot of news. Obviously, it failed because it's bloody difficult to deliver things by drone, but they got a lot of news. Anyway, next cute thing. We got this little guy. So
What's
this is an
that?
electric vehicle charging robot. Kind of like comes up behind you or underneath and just charges you. So you
Is that
park up your car
is that
and
like
it
an
comes
articulated
along.
arm thing, so it can plug itself in? Is that what that is on top?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Just in China at the moment, but I'm not sure how much it carries in charge because obviously it's rather small, but it's quite cool.
Right, but
So yeah, commands over 200 gigawatts of renewable energy. Blah 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 blah.
hold on, but so it says it's compatible with a bunch of vehicles. Great. How is it going to open the flap? Is assuming that you've already opened both the main port and the little flicky one, ready and waiting for it. In which case, if you've gone to the effort of opening the bonnet thingy and opening the thing, I might as well just plug it in at the same time. I'm not. Why would I leave the last bit to the
Well,
robot?
I suppose this is the place where they don't have chargers for whatever reason on the
Do you
side of a
know?
street or something.
Do you know what would be a better idea?
Um,
Those panels that you just park on. Why make a robot that can
it
plug it to
would,
the plug? Just fix the problem properly.
but at the same time,
It's cute
that's
though.
cute.
It's cute. I'll give you
It's
that.
cute that it's cute that little robots could be just waiting to dock with you for some I don't know pence probably. I imagine there'd be hundreds of them just teaming around you, waiting. Pick
Yep.
me, pick me, pick me.
Tripping you up. Yep.
Cool. That's the end of the cute section. On to
He's not as cute, is he?
Britcoin.
I mean,
Ah, well,
he's
dishy
probably
wishy.
one of the cutest. What is he? The Chancellor of the
Well,
Exchequer. What is it?
politician,
Chancellor, dude. Yeah. He's probably the
Chancellor
cutest
of the
Chancellor we've had,
Exchequer.
but not doesn't he's still not cute.
Yeah, okay. Um, yeah, so Rishi has launched a task force specifically for London to really start to get a grips on how we can develop a cryptocurrency for Britain. It's been nicknamed Britcoin by independent groups. They haven't actually said or released much information yet. They are literally thinking about how this will work. And there's been leaked news of Britain might ban Bitcoin at the same time they introduced Britcoin. I think that'd be very bad if they did that. That'd be a very bold thing of saying we don't like competition, and that would be messy.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they don't do stuff like that. But I'm interested to see what exactly they will do. So yeah, there's not a lot of information in this article, just chats about what cryptocurrency is and yeah, how this could help the struggling financial sector of London after Brexit. Either way, interesting thing. I do like Rishi. Let's see what comes out of that. Next, there's another country getting involved. Norway.
All right.
So Norway is also starting its own digital currency tests after
Goodness.
4 years of research.
Wow.
So they've been doing this a bit longer. So if you remember our previous news, we discussed China, who already have their one, Russia, who have their one, the Britain is considering one, and now we have Norway also considering one. So it seems that countrywide cryptocurrencies is becoming a thing, where maybe we would get rid of fiat money in terms of cryptocurrency and have direct exchange rates at some point, because obviously crypto is a lot easier to manage, store, validate, all those type of things.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we would eventually just get rid of money in traditional terms.
Yeah.
So that would be very interesting, and it kind of feels like that makes sense.
So, would you'd be on board with a Britcoin?
I think I probably would. I don't use physical currency as it is, so my assets are digital. It wouldn't make any difference to me.
But you wouldn't want them to, presumably, you would try and ban Bitcoin. I think it's a stupid
I
idea.
don't think you should ban other
No,
competitive cryptocurrencies. No.
I think that'll backfire.
So
In some ways-
that'd be like banning the euro.
Well, yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Just because it doesn't actually have a basis in a country, so no one can get overly offended. But well, yeah, anything which says, "Oh, we're going to ban that," well, you're going to need to have a good reason for it. Incidentally, Bitcoin has had a good day today, and it's not quite back at 60,000, but it's getting $60,000. But it's getting there. In our money, that would be it's back above 40 grand.
Highs of 48, just got some time to rise.
It's
Had a bad week, but a good day.
and it's recovering basically,
Cool,
which is good
okay,
because it
wow.
basically shows that it's increasing its stability. Because normally, if it had a bad time, it would properly tank. But the drop is not ridiculous anymore, which means it's getting stronger, which means there are more big names in it, and it's only going to increase.
Yeah, didn't Tesla credit Bitcoin as one of its Q1 profits because they sold 10% of their stake?
Yep, they did. So they got this is often the bears who don't like Tesla like to point out that they made, I think it was 500 million from selling tax or EV credits. So just money that's given to them by the competitors because the competitors can't bother to make electric cars, by the governments effectively. And then they made another 100 million, I think, by selling their 10% of their Bitcoin stake, which they claimed the reason for doing so was because they were testing the liquidity of it, because they wanted to know they could buy it if they wanted to do quickly and if they could sell it quickly as well. And so, but it happened not that long before earnings, and it just so happened to make them in having a good quarter. So I think there was a bit of both there. I think it was probably just testing it, yeah, sure, but testing it to that level because they could do with a bit of extra. Either way, smart move because it had gone up a lot. So
Yes, definitely smart move. And the simple thing that they earned more money on Bitcoin than they've ever made selling cars is mad.
yeah.
Anyway, next news. Human cells grown in monkey embryos. So this triggers the whole Pandora's box of ethical concerns. And yeah, okay, I can see why it can. Um, Obviously, because now we're sort of on the fringe of what's legally allowed. We are not allowed to mess with human embryos because obviously that could be a person that has certain rights. Monkey embryos, not so much. But however, if we put human cells in monkey embryos, now we start crossing that line. But the whole idea of this is to tackle the transplant shortages because we can grow human organs effectively, or at least maybe human stem cells out of monkey embryos, since we are very close DNA wise. Yeah, so this has happened before with other animals. Chimeras, I think they're called. Yeah. So just taking cells from other parts of the body and growing them. First human pig hybrid in 2017. Yeah, so these guys do play with these things, and they only allowed the human monkey chimera embryos to live for 19 days before they were destroyed. So they obviously didn't let anything go too far. So I'm sort of on the fence with this, where yes, it's a bit dodgy ethically, but at the same time, I think it's necessary progress. And if we really want to solve um, certain types of illnesses, I think this type of research is required, and it's going to happen either legally or illegally. So it should be as controlled as possible legally. That's my understanding, at least. Do you agree or not?
I don't know. I feel at this point I might have to just refer to could do a bit more information or more understanding on this point. Uh, I'm just thinking, what if you end up with some actual hybrid? Like, what the hell's that going to cause? What sort of? Because
Well, like a monkey with a human face.
well, yeah, all the other way around. Like a little boy that we're going to register as a human, but who has a tail or something. I don't know. That's where it's like mm. And also like whilst we want to um, stuff like when COVID comes along and we need a way of fixing that, and obviously all the research behind that to help us come up with those sort of pandemic situations. I'm all for whatever's required for getting that, but for solving, there needs to be a line of when we just go, do you know what? If you've got an illness or whatever, there's going to be a limit to what we're prepared to do to get rid of an illness or a defect or whatever. Defect. I think sometimes we just need to accept
Yeah.
what is what, which is obviously easy to say if you haven't got a problem, but I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, doesn't fill me with joy in the idea of messing up with this too much.
But you could see that it's going to happen. Even if it's banned, it's going to happen.
Um, I don't know if it is. I mean, presumably you have to. It's a similar sort of problem to AI, in the sense that
Yeah.
you need to have done the research. You need to have some level of support of research in order to get that far. So as long as we're regulating the people that are even attempting it, I think you're going to struggle to come up with something outside of that when it's such a specialist area. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think you'll get to the point where it'll be easier, type of thing you could, whip up in your own garage, as a lot of things previously were impossible or undoable easily, but now they can be done at home. Like you can 3D print a gun, for example. I do
Right.
think stuff like this will become easier.
3D printer cell. Ugh.
Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on. So, as you talked about AI, this is a good article next. So, the EU Commission is taking a hardline stance against high risk AI. So, they are trying to regulate it in Europe.
Good. Although they
So,
tend to overregulate, but yeah.
well, the EU does have a habit of a lot of regulations. So, the UK is no longer part of the EU, so this doesn't apply to us. So, obviously, we can watch, learn, take what we want from it, which is good. I think at the moment they are, looking to ban high-risk areas of facial recognition, social credit systems. I mean, this one is quite interesting because kind of what China's doing. In the idea of that, if you have low social credit, you are not allowed to use buses or trains, which is kind of mad. It's literally a Black Mirror episode.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, facial recognition we know is just there's so many flaws there. So we need to get that right first. So I think, looking at ways to regulate AI is good, and maybe set some sort of ethical guidelines is good. But at the same time, again, EU might be doing this, but this AI is not going to start in Europe with these regulations. It's going to be somewhere else. I think that's the poison of regulations, that it moves things away. Maybe to the UK. Maybe we'll be pioneers in AI tech, and we sort of already are. The best AI we know of right now, Alpha Zero by the
Yeah.
DeepMind guys, is based out of London.
All right.
Obviously, it's a Google company, but they are London based. They are British engineers. So that's pretty good. That's obviously the one we know of. Does DARPA have something we don't? Who knows? But yeah, I do think regulations do kill innovation to a certain degree. But I'm
They
interested to
do,
see what
but
they
I
come
think
with.
with AI, the potentials of it are quite far-reaching if it
Yeah,
goes wrong. So, you don't have to stop. If it's regulated well, then you don't have to stop people doing sensible things. It just
yeah,
depends on how much they decide to overdo it. But what we don't want is a bunch of hack coders basically coming up with something that's going to destroy the world and then go, whoops.
yeah, yeah. Who knows? You also mentioned perseverance earlier, but did you come across this article?
I did not.
So yeah, we've figured out how to extract breathable oxygen from Martian air. So
Sweet.
this is a good step towards living on Mars. So we now know that's possible. Yeah, that's probably a nice way of putting it. Um, yeah, so we can convert it to breathable air. How does it do it? So
A toaster-sized device made of various heat-tolerant materials about the six-wheeled Perseverance,
oh, look at that.
called Moxie.
NASA's loving this stuff, isn't it?
Can I have the 3D modeling?
The Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment. Nice. So heats up the air 800 degrees, separates the atoms, and then emits carbon monoxide back as a byproduct.
Produce 5 grams of oxygen. Oh, it's like that's 10
It could do
minutes.
10 grams an hour. So
Okay. I
so
thought 5 grams was going to be like
every
nothing.
hour of producing, every hour it can produce you 20 minutes of oxygen. You know, hold your breath for 40 minutes and you'll be all right.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem, isn't it?
So you
Right.
need 3 of these little guys per astronaut. And
First
if
job,
one fails,
make it 3 times bigger. Let's do that.
well, it's going to do another another 9 times over the next 2 years to sort of make sure this works. But yeah, humans on Mars in the future, we have technology that seems to work, so that's pretty good.
Okay. Well, I suppose it could be making oxygen whilst it's
Before we get there.
Yeah. We put one on it to fill up the tent whilst it goes around the other side of the sun. Don't do that thing, and when it comes back, should have made quite a bit.
I mean, just have this guy running for the next 2 years, and we're not going to get it for another 5 probably. So by the time we get there, I mean, what's that? It makes 10 grams per hour times 5 years. Be a while.
Wow, that's. Do you want to wear that out? I mean.
Yeah. Are you doing it now?
I'm gonna try. Right, so 10 grams an hour. So 10 times 24 hours times 365 days. How many years? 5?
5.
Times 5 years. And then that gives us 20 minutes worth of... No, was it?
10.
10 minutes.
10.
So I need to divide that by 6?
By 10.
5 by 10? Why am I dividing it by 10? We want to know how many hours we can breathe for, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
I'm proving how dumb I am right now because I can't figure that out. I think it's divided by 6, but yeah, whatever. That would give us 73,000 hours of breathing.
To divide by 24.
Divide by 24 gives us 3,000 and a bit
days.
Yeah.
So 5 years of this running gives us 10 years of oxygen for one person.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Okay, cool. So it give 1 year for 10 people. That's pretty cool.
It's alright. Get on with it.
Yep. They seem to do its job. And the fact it's so small as well, that's pretty cool.
Well, indeed, that's what I mean. Just make it 3 times bigger, maybe. That'd be your first protocol.
Yeah.
You want to at least have one of those things that, you can wear on your back, and then that's it. You've got enough.
Yeah. Actually, I suppose, you could probably just carry it, yeah. Like a straight into your nose.
Although, obviously, if you just breathe that in, I think you get quite high quite quickly.
Yeah. Also, I suppose... Oh, yeah, because it's actually just oxygen. Yeah, not air as such. It can be...
So
it can be
we're going to need to breathe something else in as well.
It can be diluted.
Well, no, you don't want to dilute that. You want to add on top of that, because they've obviously worked that part out already. That's enough oxygen to what you need, but what was it, 20% oxygen in RAF? So we would also need to add 80% of something else, which is mostly what, nitrogen? No. What's the other main material in our atmosphere? It is nitrogen, isn't it? Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, but total size, you probably could carry on your back, assuming that the 800 degrees is somehow contained, not to burn you.
Well, remember gravity's lower. Gravity's lower on Mars, so it'd be lighter anyway.
Cool. The last piece of news I have is the UK's new rail station tech turns your footsteps into electricity.
But only on certain parts of the platform.
Yeah, specifically walk here, please. So this is walkways specifically. Yeah, so it's not everything, but we have talked about these kinetic tiles before. I'm sure we discussed these maybe 10 years ago in experiments we were doing in an office. But yeah, I mean, the idea of putting these in railway stations kind of makes sense. There's a lot of footfall. I don't know exactly how much it will generate. So generators, low producing, use to power 2 USB charging benches as well as a digital screen.
So you should
put that's cool.
You should put it underneath the bench as well, so you can pick up every time someone gets up and sits down on it, or throws a bag on it, or whatever else on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's interesting, I suppose. Just simple kinetic tiles. Yeah. But I suppose we were discussing also microgeneration last time, and this is a really good microgenerator.
Yeah.
So Perfect, makes sense. There's a big investment coming. Trying to see how much we can improve. So what does Andrew say? I like the fact that it engages people, involves exercise, and is creating clean electricity all the time. I think that connection between people and energy being created through movement is a really good join-up. I agree, Andrew. That's good.
I agree, Andrew. Well done.
Yeah, good job. And it's only a pilot. Another one's expected in a Bedfordshire car park. Oh, to generate geothermal energy. Ah, cool. Okay.
All right.
Cave gen.
It produces.
Nice.
It says it produces 4 joules per step. Great.
I don't know the calculation on that, but that sounds pretty good.
Aren't we all trying to do 10,000 steps? We should therefore. You could just wear special trainers that we could plug our phones into.
Don't know.
It's a good point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why have we not? Why? Yeah, I can have a USB cable running down to my shoe. Or
Yeah.
you could have one of those those little like the sort of things you put your knife like a knife into. I was trying to get my leg up. I can't do it. If you want to carry a knife in your near your sock area, a little strap that you put around your ankle. But you can put your phone around your ankle, and then you could use wireless charging from your shoe. Yeah. Or if it had one of those really thick soles, then you could slot your phone into your shoe, and then you could basically walk on it. But it would be protected and charged at the same time. You never lose your phone.
Probably easier to have the kinetic plates in your shoes itself, send the electricity wirelessly to the phone, and charge it in your pocket.
All right. So you've improved on my idea. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway, just looking at the stream, we just got 60 minutes. I think that's a good time to end it.
Fair enough. I will do that then.
So we normally end by saying thanks for watching, but now we're live. I can see that no one has actually watched this. So don't worry about that part.
So thanks for watching, potentially in the future, maybe.
Yeah.
And remember to think, educate, and act. And we will see you next week, live again, perhaps. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please let us know if this actually works and you're interested in this. We're separating the news and the content chats we have. Yeah, let us know.
And if you are, feel free to join us next Wednesday at 8:30, because that's when we should be live, assuming we can keep to a schedule.
Yes.
Till next time.
Yeah, next time.